You get invited into a Vietnamese home for the first time, and within about 10 seconds, you already know this is not going to work like your house back home. Shoes are coming off at the door. There's an altar glowing with incense in the corner. Somewhere, a motorbike is parked inside the living room. You think, wait, is this normal? It is. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why. Today we're covering 10 things that genuinely catch foreigners off guard the moment they step inside a Vietnamese home. Not the tourist version, the real one. The one you only see once someone lets you in the front door. Vietnamese homes weren't designed around Western assumptions. They were shaped by tropical heat, by tight urban land, by multi-generational families, and by centuries of tradition that never fully disappeared. The result is a home that works brilliantly for the people who live there, and completely rewrites the rule book for anyone visiting from abroad. If you're renting long-term, staying with a host family, or just visiting a friend's place for dinner, these 10 things will save you from some very awkward moments. Let's get into it. Number 1. Your shoes stop at the door. No exceptions. This is the first thing every foreigner learns, usually within their first visit. Shoes come off before you cross the threshold, not in the hallway, not just this once. At the door, every time. The floor inside a Vietnamese home is treated almost like an extension of the family itself. People sit on it, eat on it, and children play on it. Bringing outside dirt onto that floor is treated as a small disrespect, even if nobody says anything out loud. Most homes leave a pair of plastic sandals by the door for guests. Use them. And if you're ever unsure, just watch what the host does before you walk in, and copy it exactly. Number 2. Every home has a small altar, and it is not decoration. Almost every Vietnamese home, apartment, house, even a small rented room, has a raised altar somewhere near the entrance or against the highest wall. Photos of ancestors, a bowl of fruit, incense sticks, sometimes lit, sometimes waiting. This is the bon though, the ancestor altar. And it's one of the most consistent things you'll see in any Vietnamese home, regardless of income or region. It represents a belief that's still very much alive here, that family doesn't end at death and ancestors are still part of daily life. For foreigners, the shock isn't the altar itself, it's realizing how central it is. It usually sits higher than anything else in the room, often facing the front door, because it's considered the most important spot in the house. Never point your feet toward it. Never place random objects on or near it, and if incense is burning, just let it be. It's not for you to touch or move. Number 3. The bathroom doesn't have a separate shower. The whole room is the shower. This one catches almost every newcomer off guard on day one. You walk into the bathroom expecting a shower stall or a bathtub. Instead, you find a shower head mounted on the wall, a floor drain in the middle of the tiles, and no barrier at all. This is called a wet bathroom, and it's the standard design across most of Vietnam. From budget apartments to mid-range hotels, the entire room is built to get wet. Waterproof tiles, sloped floor, a drain that handles everything. The practical tip here is simple. Keep your toilet paper, towels, and phone somewhere that won't get splashed, usually a small shelf or cabinet near the door, and don't panic the first time you see water pooling on the floor. That's exactly how it's supposed to work. It just takes a few uses to get used to. Number 4. The motorbike might be parked inside the living room. In many Vietnamese homes, especially older houses in cities, the ground floor doubles as a garage. The motorbike, sometimes 2 or 3 of them, gets wheeled directly through the front door and parked right next to the sofa. To a foreigner, this looks unusual. To a Vietnamese family, it's simply protecting something valuable. Motorbikes are a major investment for most households, and leaving one outside overnight, exposed to weather and theft, isn't worth the risk. So the safest place for it is the same place the family spends their evenings. If you're renting a place with ground floor parking like this, don't be surprised if your landlord expects the same arrangement. It's not a design flaw. It's just a different set of priorities. Number 5. Hot water isn't always instant. There's usually no tank. Back home, hot water usually comes from a large tank that quietly heats water in the background all day. In Vietnam, most homes use a small wall-mounted heater that only activates the moment you turn on the shower. This is called a tankless or instant water heater, and it's far more energy efficient for smaller households. But it does mean a few things foreigners aren't used to. There's a short delay before the water actually warms up. Water pressure can drop slightly while it's heating, and if the unit is old or poorly maintained, it might not get very hot at all, especially in cooler months. If your rental has a weak heater, it's a completely normal request to ask your landlord to replace or service it. Most will do it without hesitation. It's a common issue, not a personal complaint. Number 6. Furniture is low, and a lot of life happens on the floor. Sofas exist in Vietnamese homes, but they're often not where the real living happens. Many families eat, relax, and even nap on a low wooden platform called a fan or a bamboo mat spread across the tiled floor. Meals are frequently served on a round tray placed directly on this surface, with everyone sitting cross-legged around it. For foreigners used to dining tables and chairs, this takes some adjusting, both physically and socially. If you're invited to eat this way, the polite move is simple. Sit wherever your host gestures for you to sit, and don't put your feet flat on the floor, pointing toward the food or the altar. It's a small detail, but it's the kind of thing that quietly earns respect. Number 7. The house is long, narrow, and surprisingly deep. Walk down almost any residential street in a Vietnamese city, and you'll notice something strange about the houses. They're extremely narrow at the front, sometimes just 3 or 4 meters wide, but stretch back 30, 40, even 60 meters. Locals call these nhang, or tube houses. The shape traces back to old land tax systems that charged property owners based on street frontage, not total land size, so families built narrow, deep, and tall to minimize tax while maximizing space. The habit stuck, even long after the original tax rules changed. For foreigners renting one of these homes, the layout takes some getting used to. Natural light and airflow usually come from a small courtyard or skylight somewhere in the middle of the house, not from windows on the side. It's a completely different way of designing for space. And once you understand the history, it actually makes a lot of sense. Number 8. 3 generations under one roof is normal, not unusual. In many Western countries, moving out at 18 is treated as a milestone. In Vietnam, it's common for children to live with their parents well into adulthood, sometimes even after marriage. Grandparents, parents, and children frequently share the same home, each generation contributing differently to the household. This isn't seen as a lack of independence. It's rooted in a strong cultural value around filial piety, caring for your parents the same way they cared for you. For foreigners staying with a host family or a Vietnamese partner's family, this means home life often includes more people, more opinions, and more involvement in daily decisions than you might expect. The key is patience and respect. Elders are typically greeted first, served first at meals, and given the final say in most household matters. Understanding this hierarchy goes a long way toward feeling welcome in a Vietnamese home. Number 9. The washing machine lives outside, and so does the laundry. Almost no Vietnamese home has a laundry room. Instead, the washing machine usually sits on a balcony, a rooftop, or just outside the kitchen, exposed to the weather. And once the laundry is washed, it doesn't go in a dryer. It goes straight onto a long pole, often extended out over the street from an upper floor window. To foreigners, this looks chaotic at first. To locals, it's simply the most practical solution for a hot, sunny climate where clothes dry in a couple of hours anyway. If you're renting long-term, don't expect a dryer to be part of the deal. Very few homes have one. Plan your laundry around sunny days and invest in a few extra hangers. It becomes second nature faster than you'd think. Number 10. The house is built to stay cool, not to be sealed shut. Foreigners moving from colder climates often expect a home to be tightly sealed. Insulated walls, thick carpets, double-glazed windows. Vietnamese homes are built for the opposite goal. Tiled floors instead of carpet to stay cool underfoot. Gaps and airflow built into stairwells and hallways. Ceiling fans as the default, with air conditioning reserved for bedrooms. This design keeps homes livable through months of intense heat and humidity, but it also means less soundproofing, more insects finding their way in, and a noticeably different feeling of indoors versus outdoors. The adjustment tip here is simple. Don't fight the design. Get a good mosquito net or screen for your bedroom. Use the ceiling fan as your default instead of the AC, and you'll find these homes are far more comfortable than they first appear. Somewhere around the third or fourth visit, something shifts. You stop noticing the altar in the corner. It just feels like part of the room. You automatically kick off your shoes before your hand even reaches the door. You know exactly where to sit and exactly how to hold your teacup when it's offered to you. The details that once felt foreign start to feel like home. That's the real story behind Vietnamese homes. They weren't built to impress a stranger. They were built around family, respect, and centuries of adapting to the climate. And once you understand the why behind each detail, walking into one stops feeling like a test and starts feeling like an invitation. So those are 10 things that genuinely surprise foreigners inside Vietnamese homes. The ones to remember most. Shoes off at the door. Always. Respect the altar. It's the heart of the home, not decoration. Expect a wet bathroom, low furniture, and a house built to stay cool, not sealed shut. And remember, none of these details are wrong. They're just built around different priorities than the ones you grew up with. If this video helped you understand Vietnamese home culture a little better, drop a comment below. Which one of these surprised you the most? And if you're planning a long stay in Vietnam, check out our other videos on visas, renting an apartment, and everyday life as a foreigner here. See you in the next one.